Hello out there. Heavy Monte here. Welcome to the Heavy Monte podcast and my comedy show. Now in America, people are out there saying that the Democrat Party caved and gave the Republicans their way. That's a big fat lie. Sometimes somebody told me you have to get a big piece of cheese and leave it there to catch a rat. And the Republican parties are rats. The Republican Party has been taken by surprise. You understand? See, the last time I made a decision real fast and I talked bad about Chuck Schumer. Chuck Schumer ain't no damn fool, ladies and gentlemen. He's been playing this game a long, long time. And the Republicans fell into the trap. Because the Republicans were going to keep the government shut down, you understand, through the end of December. Anyway, so the Democrats, they knew that. And they were saying, okay, we got to kind of get something out of this stuff. And what they got out of it is the government to be reopened. And Heavy Monte on the last podcast said that the government should be reopened. Because the government being open is worth finding out if Donald Trump is a frickin' pedophile, you see. Now, the Republicans are shaking in their boots. They're having a meeting right now, and they're saying, golly, man, we got to go back to work. And we got to face the American people and tell them why we will not, release the Epstein files. So Heavy going to tell you why. Midas Touch, they have been doing some investigating. That's right. They got some good people over there. You understand? And Michael Wolff, he is the man who was writing a book and, talking to Jeffrey Epstein a lot. And Jeffrey Epstein said there were pictures of Donald Trump engaging in sexual activity, or words to that effect, with minor children. Young children, they said. Okay? Now, they're saying that the Jeffrey Epstein tapes are bad, worse than anyone could imagine, and shows these pictures and possibly videos, they say, of Trump engaging in these sexual acts with these children. Witnesses have said that they saw him, with his pants. He has some wet stuff on the front of his pants. Children have said that. I understand. Now, you see, somebody say it. But America, but now the Republicans, they got to come back and face the Epstein files. They're saying that, this would happen here, America. That no one, when Pam Bondi, she said to 1,000 FBI agents, go out there and clean up the files, they didn't expect to find all the stuff. They said that the FBI agents that saw this stuff got sick to their stomach, because they said this stuff was gross, the stuff that Donald Trump was doing. That's what they said. And that's what they're saying. And they're saying that the Republican Congress right now is aware of how bad these Epstein files are. They're saying that Mike Johnson is aware. They're saying that Kash Patel is aware. They're saying that Dan Bongino, he hiding too. You don't see his ass nowhere. You don't even see Kash Patel either. They don't never mention that stuff no more. When they were the chief architect of spreading that story and blaming the Democratic Party and creating QAnon. Where the hell you at, QAnon? You found your man. Huh? You found the pedophile, they say. Huh? It's in the Republican Party. It's all of them. They're all working together. You understand? They're all working together, in the opinion of Heavy Monte. Now, America. Now, I say this, the Democratic Party played them, sucking them into it, and now it's still up to the Republicans to open the government. You see, because the Senate is just the first step. They got to take a vote and say up or down. You understand? Then they got to swear in this one lady, you understand, to take that vote. the lady who will sign the petition that they can vote to, release the files. You understand? Override all this stuff. You see what I'm trying to tell you? You don't have to do anything, too much. Just do it. So anyway, America, they are caught in a trap. You see, the old man, Chuck Schumer, and those guys played them, because they're ignorant. You got to realize that the Republicans and the voters are stupid. And you got to attack them, in a way that hurt. It hurt for them to lose their SNAP benefits. It hurt for them to lose their health benefits. It hurt them when they read Project 2025. These fools are out here talking about, we don't want to, history, we are white people. You understand? We don't want our little girls and little boys knowing anything about slavery. We don't want them knowing anything about gay people. We don't want them knowing anything about transgender. We want to all do the Bible. Well, do that shit and leave us alone. Nobody's stopping you. You see what I'm trying to tell you? But you want us to pay for this shit. That's why. Pay for your schools. Get the hell out of here. You go to schools like everybody else will pay for your own shit. You understand? That's a heavy look at it. You see what I'm trying to tell you? Because you never let somebody BS you. We are all Americans. We come in different colors, but we are all Americans that have the same human and civil rights. Except you have a maggot machine, a pedophile protector maggot machine going around telling the American people that it's my way or the highway. I want the 10 Commandments, in the schools. I want everybody to go to the maggot church. You understand? I want everybody, to worship a maggot king. We're not doing it. We are free people. Free to be gay, free to be transgender, free to be black, free to be white, free to be what the hell we want to be. Take it from the old man. But we have a maggot Republican Party. They're out there, America. They're in your church. They're at McDonald's. They're everywhere telling you, you don't read this book. Don't do that. Those kids over there, don't play with those people. We need to get rid of those people. They're trying to take our space. They're telling you everything but say the American dream is for everybody. Huh? But we need a working government to have the dream. These maggot Republicans say we need no government. They're saying that the states need to pay their own way. And Alabama, that California paying your way. Everybody, we are the United States of America. We like to travel across each other, borders and have some fun and obey the laws in that state. But the Republicans, they preach that garbage and separate us. I don't give a damn tourism coming into your town, buying shit. You can't be dealing with that racist stuff. You'll starve. And that's what's happening to you right there today. So I want to say, America, I want to go back to what I said. The Democratic Party played the Republican Party into opening up the government. And they got a little something for it, because they weren't going to get shit. The Republican Party was not going to open up the government and expose Donald Trump to what's in that Epstein file. This is decision time for them now. They're going to have to make a decision, and Donald Trump's going to have to resign, He's got to go. And not unless he keep those files, closed. And I don't see how he's going to be able to do it. I just don't see it. I think the American people will really, really get upset and revolt. I'm talking about as far as, not voting for any Republicans. Again. You can't be voting for them. They BS you, lie to you right in your face. It's professional lies. Telling you egg prices and just lying. You know, seriously, America, lying, lying, lying. And I don't get it. I don't understand why a political party enemy is the American people. You know, we are they treat us like we're dogs. Like we're pitiful and ignorant little dogs, and we're not. Because we give them the power by not voting against them, by listening to their stuff. They don't even make any sense. I told you. You know, we want a white country. And we want one religion. You can have that by your damn self. What I'm trying to tell you? Get a group of your friends. You know what I'm saying? So y'all get together and y'all churches and say, we got guns now. These people are going to do what we tell them. Shit. We need more people in the churches, you understand? What's going on here? God told us to do this. I read it in the Bible. Get the hell out of here, man. You see how ridiculous you are? And you see how ridiculous I was saying that stuff? We want to be free. And we want to see the Epstein files. We don't want to hear no more excuses. Now, Mike Johnson, you bet not bring your little shorts ass out on the bike and go, well, the Senate was a little too fast. The president can't go along with opening the government up right now. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. That's all they got. We don't want to give the money to the insurance companies, or some BS like that, Or, I don't know, they put a risk card. Might say, well, we want to be giving hospitalization to immigrants. Something like that. Don't believe them. All right, this is Heavy Monte saying please subscribe to the Heavy Monte YouTube channel and never, ever vote for a Republican again. And have a great day, America.